When you have a symptom, it's your body trying to communicate with you. I am not dialed in. I am not happy. I am not optimized. Pay attention to me, right?
Girl, you've got questions. Questions about your body and how to feel good in it, about your hormones and how to keep them in check. Questions about your sex life and your whole health. Can you imagine having a best girlfriend who was also a triple board certified OBGYN? A girlfriend doctor you could call and ask or tell her anything. Someone who could show you how to live any stage of life, before, during, or after menopause, in a big, bold, and beautiful way. Well, friends, I'm your girlfriend doctor. I believe you are meant to flourish and shine, to embrace life and awaken to all its possibilities. Let's get there together. Welcome to our show. Well, have you ever suffered with hair loss? Have you ever struggled with your hormones? Have you ever wondered what was going on? Have you seen piles of hair at the bottom of your sink and said, oh my gosh, am I going bald? What's happening here? Have you suffered with breast cancer, autoimmune disease, and been treated with chemotherapy or radiation therapy and had significant hair loss as a result of it? Well, let me tell you, the hair is a reflection of what's going on the inside, and there's so many things that can affect a healthy head of hair. And today's guest has lived her journey as I have. I had tremendous hair loss all the way back to the crown of my head, stress-induced hair loss. Let me tell you, it is a real problem. My journey here has been one to just share authentically and vulnerably with you, as well as the journey of my guest who shares with us some parts of her story that she just doesn't share with anyone. And so really thrilled to have Dr. Shelena Lalji here on the Girlfriend Doctor Show, who's had her own journey. She's a board certified OBGYN like me, a functional medicine expert like me, and she's here to connect the dots between how hormones is really essential to balance, to have energy and healthy skin and hair. And she had her own journey with her personal medical journey and her personal traumatic journey that she is now here to share victoriously in so many ways, her triumphs through these tribulations. And I want you to hear from her because she is amazing. She's a dear friend, and she's the founder of Dr. Shell Wellness and Aesthetic Center in Houston, Texas. And she helps men and women in hormone balancing and sexual health and hair loss, certainly. And she's been doing this for over 20 years. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about some key reasons that you have struggle with hair loss specifically, but of course, that's just a symptom of many other things. And what are the reasons for that, right? It goes beyond thyroid, it goes beyond the use of Rogaine, and we should not just live with it. If you've been living with hair loss, we're going to stop that now. And we're also going to talk about some key tests that you want to do, as well as supplements and products that will really help you. And speaking of which, oh my gosh, I know I've gotten questions about when is my hair mask formula coming out. It should be coming out. I think we are taking a waiting list right now. So email my team at drannakabeca.com. So email team at drannakabeca.com, and my hair mask is coming out. Non-hormonal hair mask to really help with menopausal hair loss or androgenic hair loss. And it contains one of the key ingredients among its many nutritious ingredients, contains sea buckthorn oil, which I've studied for as an essential oil to really help with hormonal balance. And so it is just amazing. It really has been proven to help with hair rejuvenation and to protect and strengthen the hair, as well as moisture your hair and moisture your scalp. And we've seen it produce increasing collagen for the hair and have nice elasticity, adding volume. I'm really excited to be releasing this menopausal hair mask formula to you in the very soon. So I can't wait to get that to you. So we do have a waiting list that's building with the first batch that's coming out. It's been through trials and we're just getting some amazing results. So I can't wait. for you guys to do that. Well, let's get on to my guest, Dr. Shelena Lalji, who is just amazing and has her just incredible story to share with you. And can't wait to hear what you think about it. Here we go. Well, welcome, Shell. I'm glad to have you back on the Girlfriend Doctor show. It is beautiful to see you again and connect with you. Thanks for being here.
It's so good to be here, Anna. It's really nice to see you as well. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Well, this episode on all things hormones and hair that we'll be talking about today. I mean, you've tied into this in your own life, in your own product line, in your own story. And I want you to share a little bit with our audience about this, about your journey and how you've come to be so passionate about balancing your hormones and also having lustrous, beautiful, hair, and why that is important, why it's a sign of health.
Absolutely. Yes. What a great question to start with. Anna, my journey started when I was in my early to mid 30s. I had, so I have two kids, them, Zoe and Zaid. And when Zaid was born, that's my younger one, he's 17 now. When he was born, right after postpartum, I just simply lost chunks of hair. Like I'm talking about all of this was just gone. And I had so many hormonal symptoms. And I always say to my patients, a symptom is your body trying to give you a message. A symptom for us is our body's communicating with us. And so, when we have a symptom of, say, congestion, our body's telling us something's awry and you need to take something, whether it's steam or, essential oils to open things up. When you have symptoms such as depression and weight gain and mood swings and hair loss and low libido, and when you can't have focus and brain fog, your body is essentially telling you, and most often what it's telling you is that your hormones are completely imbalanced. And you and I know this, postpartum, a lot of women go through this. But what we women need to know is that we doctors and all the doctors out there are going to get to the root cause of what's going on. In my situation, I was a board certified OB-GYN then, and I am now, and I, knew a lot about hormones, right? So I still went to my OB-GYN and I thought, what, I'm not going to treat myself. I'm going to go to my OB-GYN and present all these symptoms, and then we'll get some hormone testing done and see what's going on. And at that time, Anna, I was practicing traditional OB-GYN, right? So even I was thinking traditionally, right? But I knew that I was very connected to my body. So I said to my OB-GYN, I said, Lori, something's really wrong. I have, all the symptoms that I mentioned. I'm just exhausted and I'm just losing all this hair. And, can we just get my thyroid and my hormones and my cortisol all tested? And she said, honey, you and I have been friends for a long time. This is postpartum and you just, need to kind of get through this time. And here's a couple of prescriptions that I can give you. And I think you and your audience both can guess what those prescriptions were, right? So I'm walking away with a prescription of an antidepressant and a sleeping pill. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I do not have a deficiency in antidepressants, and I am not sleeping because I need a sleeping pill. There is something else going on. That actually, Anna, is when my journey into functional medicine began, because I knew as an OB-GYN, if I am feeling this desperate and I'm going to my doctor and not getting the answers I want, millions of other women are going through it as well. So that's kind of where my journey of, how am I going to get to the root cause of this imbalancing of hormones, which are then giving me all of these symptoms? How am I going to get to the root cause of that? And how am I going to correct it? And it was very much out of self-desperation almost, because I had to do something. My hair loss was so bad, Anna, I did not want to leave the house. I really, truly didn't. I mean, why would you want to leave the house when you're thinning hair and you've like bald spots here? So I almost thought I was going to get alopecia. And so I really started digging into it, researching. I went to, Institute of Functional Medicine conferences, and I trained myself and I read the books, went to the conferences, did my research. And that's kind of what brought me into this intense interest in doing the same process for thousands and thousands of women out there who just are suffering in silence. So yeah, that's how my journey started. Yeah.
Yeah, and they, for me too, a similar story. After my daughter Ava Marie was born, I pulled back my hair, and I had hair loss all the way basically to the, almost to the crown. Like you could pull back my hair, and there was no hair here. You see all this
Oh
hair.
my goodness.
If for those of you who are watching on our YouTube channel, you can see our video and you can see Dr. Shell's gorgeous hair and you can see my long hair. And, from experience, OBGYN board certified, I was stressed, depressed, my hormones were a mess, right? And
Really?
I pulled back my hair and there was all that hair loss. And it was traumatizing. And I've had patients come in as you have in a
Yes,
Ziploc bag. This is what I'm seeing at the bottom of the drain. This is what's in
exactly.
my sink, or my hairbrush is full, and what's going on. And it is traumatic. And so one of the, we learn through our own journey, okay, it goes beyond thyroid health, right? We're not depressed. I mean, what's going on? It's not
Yeah,
Rogaine's not going to fix it, right? Rogaine
exactly.
not going to fix it. Antidepressant is not going to fix it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we
That's
go
not what caused it.
internally,
Yeah,
not what caused it. We have to get to the underlying root cause. And so it goes beyond this. And
absolutely.
I think that's what it's so beautiful. And I love your journey. And I would like you to share. I know if you're uncomfortable sharing this, please let me know. But also, when I last interviewed you, you had
Yeah,
just come through chemotherapy and you had
right.
lost all your hair. And I can just see how gorgeous and healthy it is now, and
Thank you.
how
Thank you. Thank
radiant
you.
you look. I mean, you have been through something, and many women who are in my audience have had breast cancer, have had cancer, have had autoimmune disease, have had chemotherapy, radiation therapy. And so there
Yeah.
are additional modalities we can do to address the underlying issues that if we are able to see a symptom even as hair loss
Mhm. Mhm.
and address it early, then we're preventing other diseases down the line as well. And that's really what I know I'm so passionate. We are so passionate
Yeah,
about
for
as
sure. For
sister
sure.
gynecologists here, right? We are so passionate about that empowerment. So I want you to
Absolutely.
share a little bit like how that, personally, how that was for you and your journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, for those of you who are watching on the YouTube channel, my hair looked, like Anna's hair, long, luscious, and really full. And October 2019, I got my diagnosis of breast cancer. Now, that came 2 years after my husband's diagnosis of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, in 2017. So the reason I talk about that is because imagine the stress that initiated in 2017, and we'll come back to this, what huge of a role stress plays in hair loss, as well as hormonal imbalance, and all the symptoms that we talk about all the time with our patients, like the fatigue and the weight gain and the immune dysfunction and the hormonal imbalances and all of that, right? And we'll come back to that. But when I got my diagnosis of cancer, Anna, I remember thinking to myself the very day, it's October 9th, 2019, and I remember thinking, I am not surprised. Now, that's a really odd thought for somebody who just got diagnosed with breast cancer. The reason I wasn't surprised is because I had completely ignored my health, completely ignored my health and just not focused on it at all, thinking that I was being selfless and I was, just doing the right thing.
The
And
martyr,
true,
right? I mean,
yeah, we all have
it's
that syndrome.
natural to be the
Yeah,
martyr, right? To
yeah,
sacrifice, make sure the kids are good, make sure your husband's taking care of our business, taking care of our
yeah,
employees. And because we're in a caregiving position, right? We are caregivers as OBGYNs, as your personality, and I know as mine as well. Like we will, sacrifice.
we do. And we've written books on this, right? I've written books on it, and I've written blogs on it, and I've spoken about it. And you and I tell our patients self-care is self-preservation. And for those 2 years, I forgot that because my husband had a fatal illness and I had to save his life. And with God's grace, he's still with us, and Mayo Clinic had given him 6 months. So I think we did something right. And
Ooh,
all of that
that's
just, yeah,
amazing. I just pause and appreciate that and appreciate your
give
love. And
me,
I've been to your home just within the year, and just to
yeah,
feel the love in your home, and
thank
with your kids and your family. I mean, that is true love, and just really sending so many blessings. And what an accomplishment, and more to
thank
come,
you.
more of this miraculous journey to
Oh,
come.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And I, really, really like talking about that also because I think it gives people hope and it gives people the sense of anything is possible and anything truly is possible, right? And so that was kind of where my cancer journey started, is after 2 years of completely, not focusing on my health and not taking my supplements and not eating right and not exercising and not meditating and not sleeping. And we'll come back to all of those being root causes. And so when my cancer happened, I thought to myself, well, gosh, this is a wake-up call. This is God telling me you need to pause, because if I had not given you this diagnosis, Shell, you would have kept on trucking along at 200 miles an hour. And so in a way, I really look at my cancer diagnosis as a blessing, a permission, a pause button. All of those things are what my cancer journey brought me. Now, of course, cancer journeys are extremely difficult for all your audience that's listening. We all know, cancer is so difficult on the body. So I had to go through surgery. Then I went through chemotherapy. Then I went through radiation. And even that decision-making process, Anna, I would say was one of the toughest I've ever made, because you and I know we are functional medicine docs, right? We are root cause. We are, let's go natural. Let's try to get our bodies to heal themselves. And I went through this process in my head thinking, what is the right thing for me? What is the right thing for me to do, knowing that if something happens to me, my husband will not make it without a doubt. My children will not have any other parents. And I just didn't have a choice to, willy-wally with anything or, try to take any chances. So I said to myself, I'm going to do the best of both worlds. I'm going to do the best of what traditional medicine has to offer, and I will do the best of what functional and integrative oncology has to offer. So I was, doing both. And I mean, it included so many different things, ranging from, my infrared saunas and hyperbaric and, nutritional supplements and the right food intake. And, I could go on and on. And that's kind of what I do for my cancer patients, is you've got to do a very holistic, comprehensive approach. But all that to say is I chose to do chemo knowing well that I would probably lose my hair. And I did try, and I want to mention this because we're talking about hair. I did the cold helmet thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's like when you freeze your head, right? Literally, because you're trying to retain the hair. So 20% of the time, you may not lose your hair with chemotherapy if you do these the freezing of
Freezing.
the cold
The
therapy,
follicles.
cold cap, I believe it's called. And I'll tell you, it was the worst part of chemotherapy, because you're sitting there with a frozen head for literally like 4 to 6 hours. And I did it twice. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm still losing 40% of my hair. And it's just like all over the place. And I'm like, I got to take this beautiful razor and I'm going to own this, right? I just owned it, Anna. I just took it. It was like we made this big event out of it, right? Where my kids were there. Everybody took turns shaving my head, my
Oh,
mother, my
wow.
kids. We played music, we just like made it fun. And you can see a lot of these pictures. I post them. I'm very open about it because I had a really beautiful bald head. It
You
was round.
did.
At least
Absolutely.
it was round, right? It wasn't like this very weird bald head, but I enjoyed it, right? I mean, I enjoyed it, and I just owned it and I just embraced it. And then, of course, when all that was done, then I was like, okay, if we're going to get this hair back, I want to make sure I get really healthy hair back. So what do I need to do about this, right? What do I need to do? So that's kind of another part of the cancer journey that you were asking me about. I think it was fun, actually. It was fun to just kind of be in these different phases. If you know, look at the different videos that I've done, and you know, with patient videos or blogs or podcasts or whatever, I'm in many different stages of my
Cancer journey.
hair regrowth. Yeah. And it just brings you back to what were you going through at the different stages, right? And so, yeah, I'm just embracing it, Anna.
Well, and I love your, mindset, right? Because it's a thriving mindset over surviving mindset, right? It's thriving. It's like, I claim ultimate health. I mean, that's what I see you doing and saying. It's like, I claim ultimate health. I claim my beauty. I claim my healthy hair as a reflection of my internal wellness and my victory over this disease, over these circumstances, over
Yeah.
these challenges. It's a
Yeah.
victorious statement in this part of this journey. And being so authentic, I mean, one of the many things I love about you, showing up for others in your vulnerability, it's really healing. So I just want to shout that out because I want our
Oh,
audience to hear this, and
thank
especially
you.
when we are physicians, right? We are like we know the studies, we know the book work, right? We've had clients and we are the authority on helping, and we experience our trauma ourselves, and it's really real, and we need to share that. And that's how I feel like sharing these vulnerabilities, sharing authentically with our audience. And that's what the Girlfriend Doctor Show
I
is
love
about, so that we
it.
are doing this and through healing. So I do want to go into the steps that
Sure.
helped you heal. And then we're going to come back and talk about some testing that we'll do just to rule out other stuff. Because let me tell you guys, it goes beyond the thyroid, and that's
Oh,
often
for sure. For
thyroid
sure.
and Rogaine. Let me tell you, we're just going to let's just talk way beyond, way beyond. Okay.
Yes, yes. So, you know, we can start with the thyroid, of course, because a lot of people associate the thyroid with hair loss. And I think a lot of your listeners probably know that when your thyroid is imbalanced, one of the big symptoms that you might get, in addition to weight gain and constipation and fatigue and so on and so forth, is hair loss. So, just to kind of give an overview, you know, thyroid conditions occur, of course, when the thyroid gland either doesn't produce enough or produces too much of certain hormones, i.e., T3, T4. And so, when we talk about hypothyroidism or underactive thyroid, we know that that can cause many symptoms, right? Some of which that I just mentioned. But both conditions, whether it's hypo or hyper, can cause dry, brittle hair or thinning hair on your scalp. And so it's really important to look and see what is going on with the thyroid. And so when we really dive in and see what is the connection between the thyroid and your hair, well, what happens is hair starts growing at the root in the bottom of your hair follicle, right, on your scalp. And the scalp's blood vessels feed the root, creating more cells and making your hair grow. And then hair pushes up and out through your skin. It passes through oil glands that keep it soft and shiny. And then hair grows for a while, but then it falls out as each new regrowth cycle begins. So when the hormone production is disrupted, specifically of hormones T3 and T4, then it affects all those processes that are happening in the hair growth cycle. So hair may fall out, which it always does. You know, we lose about 60 strands of hair on a daily basis, and that's normal. We are all supposed to lose some hair because, of course, we know that there are 3 stages, right, of hair that it goes through. It goes through the growth stage, and then it goes through the loss stage, and then it goes through the maintenance stage. So all of these stages, each of them are very, very important. And so when you don't have the right hormonal balance with your thyroid, you can actually disrupt these phases, and you don't grow the hair as you should, and you'll have many more in the hair loss or the telogen stage, which is when you lose the hair, right? You want it to be in the anagen phase. The other thing that can happen, Anna, is, of course, you know, alopecia, right, is an autoimmune condition which is often seen with thyroid conditions. It causes patches of hair loss in more discrete areas. I mean, some of my patients, they'll lift it up and they'll have a patch here or they'll have a patch here. And thank goodness they can cover it up, but oh my gosh, it bothers them so very much. And then certain drugs that are used to treat some thyroid conditions, like thyrouracil, can also lead to hair loss. So these are things that are really important to sort of understand. And so the good news is that hair loss that are caused by thyroid conditions is typically temporary, because you and I know we have ways to fix that from the root cause. And when you and I, do that, when we treat the cause, we actually want to look and see what caused you to have thyroid dysfunction to begin with. And I, really try to um, counsel my patients on, just because you have a thyroid condition, just because you're hypothyroid today, doesn't mean that you're going to need thyroid hormones for the rest of your life.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
Right? Because we need to see, why did your thyroid gland stop working optimally to begin with, right? So some of the things could be, it could be your iron deficiency. We know ferritin is really, really important, and low ferritin actually contributes to patterned hair loss, right? So you can essentially look at your iron levels and your ferritin levels and really have your doctor research that. You can also look at nutritional deficiencies. So if we're talking about specifically hair loss, thyroid, the nutrients that are really important are your zinc, your selenium, your biotin, your other B complex vitamins, your iron, like I mentioned, copper. CoQ10 is really important. Vitamin C, E, and A, your antioxidants are really important. So those are really important things to look at. Could it have been that your diet was completely inflammatory, right? When you have an inflammatory diet, sure, the inflammation will start in the gut, but it's going to go everywhere in your body, including every one of your glands, your thyroid gland, and we'll get to this later, your adrenal gland. So that inflammation, so if you're eating a lot of processed foods, red meats, fried foods, sugars, gluten, gluten is something that, we hear so much about this, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, I know I shouldn't eat gluten because it's inflammatory, but I don't think I'm sensitive, or I don't think I'm allergic, what have you. Gluten, specifically if you have Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune thyroiditis, we know that almost 99% of those patients are gluten sensitive, and your antibodies will most likely climb and your autoimmune, dysfunction will get worse if you expose yourself to inflammatory foods, specifically gluten.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with that too, it's just that, if anyone has Hashimoto's, they're completely off gluten. And we get food sensitivity tests, right?
Absolutely.
We want
Yeah.
to reduce those antibodies, those thyroid antibodies that are associated with Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroiditis. And so that patchiness that's coming there, getting to the root cause, I mean, cell to cell, by the time we see it physically, by the time we see abnormal labs, it's been going on at a microscopic level for a long time. And so
Yes.
that is where you have to stop. There's no compromise here. It's not, oh, sometimes. It's like,
Yes.
let's reverse the
Done.
condition and let's just focus on that. We lose nothing by stopping gluten. We will never be malnourished from stopping
Yeah.
gluten or grains in general. So we can take that apps and just emphasize that. And certainly for hair and grains
Yes.
in general,
Gosh.
especially as we get older, increase, our blood sugar and cause, weight gain and, cause hormone imbalance, cause insulin resistance or diabetes. So there are many reasons to cut out the grains. And, like my audience, if you haven't read Keto Green 16, you've got to read Keto Green 16 because it will help you break up with sugar and break away from grains and inflammatory foods to really balance your hormones. So I really recommend everyone, tapping into that so that we can fix some of these dietary issues that are
For
causing
sure.
so much of the inflammation. This episode of the show is sponsored by the Keto Green Shake Mix. The Keto Green Shake Mix is an all-in-one meal replacement shake that will help you with weight loss, give you more energy, help reduce hot flashes, and reduce your struggles with other hormone-related issues. It tastes great and will help you feel full longer. It is plant-based protein with 0 grams of sugar and all the vitamins and minerals you need. Find Keto Green Shake Mix at dranna.com and use the code SHOW10 to get 10% off your first order.
So, if you're eating an inflammatory diet, you actually need to cut out all the inflammatory foods, and in its place add very anti-inflammatory foods. It's your turmeric and your ginger and your green tea, and I make a little powder with cinnamon and ginger and turmeric every single morning, put it in my hot water, and that's what I drink. And you just have to load yourself up with antioxidants, which is really, really important. So kind of summarizing with the thyroid, when you have excessive daily hair shedding, we actually have a name for it. It's called telogen effluvium. It's not necessarily reliant on having a genetic predisposition. It occurs as the result of an internal imbalance or an internal upset, such as nutritional deficiencies, severe stress, even if it's crash dieting, when you lose weight really quickly, or even an illness, right? An autoimmune illness or otherwise. So when you look at estrogen and progesterone levels, right, in women, when they start falling, meaning that the effects of the androgens, male hormones, are increased because everything's a balance, right? Hair loss might become even more pronounced. Hair might become even thinner because hair follicles actually shrink when that happens, because the imbalance of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone makes your hair follicles shrink. And also, when you have hair that grows, it grows more slowly and falls out more easily in these cases. Because if you look at the hormonal process of testosterone, it converts to something called DHT, dihydrotestosterone, which then harms the hair follicle. And it happens in both men and women, by the way, which is what we call the male pattern baldness, right? It's because these men have a lot of DHT in their body. And that's why a lot of people will use products with saw palmetto to kind of stop that conversion and get your hair to be in more of the anagen or the growth phase rather than in the telogen phase.
Yeah, so I want to emphasize that because for me, that was that male pattern balding. My
Yes,
thyroid was perfect. Hormones were dialed in, right? But the stress, cortisol, creating that conversion from testosterone to dihydrotestosterone by affecting the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. And that
yes,
was like such a huge aha moment. So then I knew, right? I need to block the 5-alpha reductase. And so
yes.
another way to do that is with zinc, just increasing our zinc 30, 40, 50, 60 milligrams a day and decreasing cortisol, supporting our adrenal glands and, boosting adrenal health from that perspective. But stress as a stress induced and again, as much as Rogaine you want to put on your head, it's not going to
Yes,
affect, it's not going to change
no,
that chemical reaction because your
correct.
body's
Yeah,
pumping out cortisol.
yes,
Perceived daily stress, post-traumatic stress, and it's also a big sign. And I think that's important for people to say when your body's, if you're starting to get hair loss, what's going on in your life?
and
How's
you're
your diet? How's your stress level? How's your,
right.
how are you doing? I like self-preservation, right? Self-care is
Yes,
self-preservation.
yes,
How's your
absolutely.
self-preservation? So great to emphasize that in women and men,
Yeah.
it's critical to balance that.
Critical, absolutely. 100% agree. I think, it's really all about really taking a close look. And like I said at the beginning, when you have a symptom, it's your body trying to communicate with you. I am not dialed in. I am not happy. I am not optimized. Pay attention to me, right? And maybe it's just as simple as you need to change your diet, or you need to take some of the right supplements. You need to get a little extra protein if you're eating a bunch of just unhealthy carbs all the time. You need to balance with healthy fats. You need to take the right supplements. You need to promote self-care in you. One of the things that, kind of brings me back to my Indian origin is oil massages, right? And to me, that accomplishes several things, right? So hair oil, if you get the, really awesome oil. You could get amla oil or ashwagandha oil, coconut oil, castor oil is amazing for hair. So I kind of mix up all these oils, and I definitely do that at least twice a week. And it's super nice because in the Indian tradition, we actually put oil in our hair all the time. And you see this Indian hair, which is so luscious and, thick and all of that. It's because hair oil makes the hair stronger from the roots. And it's really great for anyone who struggles with hair loss and breakage because it strengthens and protects hair follicles and strands, but it also conditions the scalp skin so that it can cultivate healthy hair growth. And then, of course, it's self care because who can't fall asleep when someone's massaging your hair, right? So, really, just getting smart about these things and also getting smart about styling. Don't keep pulling your hair, right? Just be gentle with your hair and wash it with natural products. That's the other thing that I would say. Use natural products to wash your hair and do like a vinegar rinse once a week to get rid of all the toxins from your scalp because you need to clear up all of the follicles, if you will.
I know you have a great shampoo and conditioner and vinegar rinse, and we'll give a link to your products at the end in our show notes for sure. But like
Okay,
if
sure.
we're at home and we're like, oh my gosh, I got to get ready with this vinegar right now. Can you use white vinegar, apple cider vinegar? What kind of vinegar?
So apple cider is better, but you could use really either one. If you have something right there, you can just put it in. You can actually even use it as a conditioner after you shower. So the vinegar rinse is just great. It's sort of a combination vinegar, and it doesn't smell really potent, and it really does the job. It really is great.
I think that's great. I haven't done the vinegar rinse, but I grew up with, in my Middle Eastern background, my mom, we would do an egg, olive oil, blend it
Right?
together, and that was a hair mask, and I've been playing with my own hair mask and combining amino acids and
Oh, I love it.
good protein and plus sea buckthorn oil for the menopausal hair loss. So being
Nice.
able to put that in to really help condition the scalp, balance the hormones, decrease inflammation. I think that's brilliant. But it is the little things that like those little steps, eliminating the toxins from our shampoos. And it's never too soon to do that. A clean shampoo and conditioner, that feels good. I mean, that's the other thing. It's got to feel good.
But
How
you're
many of
absolutely
us have tried some shampoos and conditioner and you're like, oh no.
no, it doesn't feel good. And you really need the right nutrients, Anna, to promote, the right kind of hair regrowth. So, I mean, you need, like you said, zinc is very, very essential. Biotin is great. Biotin is very essential, but in high doses. You don't want to just do 200 micrograms. You need about 6 to 8,000 micrograms, right? And zinc at high doses, like you said, I mean, some of the other things that I think are really important are there's a great product that I put in my Ultra HNS called Sinatine. It's a soluble keratin, and we know how important keratin is. It's the protein that we need for hair loss. And so that's really, really important. And then to try to just get the right ingredients in your supplements are very important. Taurine is very important, grapeseed extract, green tea leaf extract. And then there is an amazing pea shoot extract that has been approved and tested called Anagain NU that actually regrows hair. And it's been just life altering for our patients, to be able to have this deeply rooted hair growth that they get. So,
It does make a difference, and especially from the inside out. It's not just helping our hair, right?
yes,
That's rebuilding
yes,
collagens, re-strengthening,
yes,
our
yes, so
cellular
important.
communication, and that's important. So we talked about thyroid disease, how stress affects hair loss. Is there any other piece to that you want to?
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's important for the listeners to kind of understand how sex hormones, cortisol, which is your adrenal hormones, and thyroid kind of, interact and work together. So what's important is we know that when we're stressed, cortisol is our stress hormone. So our adrenal gland pushes out all this cortisol. Now, when we are in adrenal fatigue or when we are in a sympathetic state, which is fight or flight, that imbalance is going to directly impact the thyroid by reducing the conversion of T4, which is the inactive form of thyroid, to T3, which is the active form of thyroid. What it's going to do is instead of going to T3, that's what we need because we have receptor sites for that, it's going to go to reverse T3. And what's really important, and I'd love for your listeners to, the next time they go to their doctor and get their thyroid looked at, ask your doctor to make sure they check for the reverse T3, the free T3, free T4, TSH, and both of the antibodies, the antithyroglobulin antibody and thyroid peroxidase antibody. And so those are really important because when you are in estrogen dominance, for example, so a lot of, you and I know a lot of premenopausal, perimenopausal women, and sometimes even postmenopausal women are in estrogen dominance. And when you're in estrogen dominance, the same kind of thing is happening. You're not going to convert your T4 to the T3. And so you're going to have this deficiency. And even if doctors out there will, pump people in with Synthroid or levothyroxine, it's not going to help because it's all T4. And so we have to really know that we need to get T3 in there so that we can get everything sort of balanced. So the estrogen progesterone has to be balanced. And in certain, situations when you're peri and premenopausal, you don't need more estrogen, you need more progesterone. Similar to what you're coming up with the balance cream. I mean, progesterone is the magic hormone. It's the peaceful hormone.
For sure. And I think that just, I want to show, like, for those who are able to watch this, I'm just showing a image, a graph from my book, The Hormone Fix, that kind of will show this estrogen dominance window. I mean, really 35 to 55. I mean, that's where we see these fluctuations, and it's a very vulnerable time period, a neuroendocrine vulnerability. It is a issue with our hormones, with our nervous system, and from top to bottom, that we're affected by this estrogen dominance. And just showing, if you're listening here, I just want to share with you, like, progesterone dips from mid 30s. I mean, it really peaks in our 20s and really starts to decline in our mid to late 30s with decreasing ovarian function. And so what we see is this very rapid dip, and all our hormones, all our sex hormones are derived from progesterone. So you can imagine with this dip, there's that all of a sudden this significant shift, and our body's got to catch up with it. But we're not just having estrogen produced from our ovaries, we're also having the disruptors, the toxins, the hormone disruptors that mimic estrogen, like plastic bottles, like the chemicals on a sales receipt, like the pesticides, herbicides, chlorine, and things that will disrupt our own natural thyroid function and hormonal balance, certainly our adrenals. So we shift into this time period that's really, really vulnerable. But the good news is that what Shell's telling you, what I tell you, this is how we switch this around so that we go through a natural asymptomatic, we breeze through menopause, right? We breeze through menopause and can really thrive.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you showed that, because sometimes you really have to visualize, right, what's going on in our bodies. And a lot of people, and you and I come across this all the time, unfortunately, a lot of women think, well, my hormones don't need any help because I'm not menopausal yet. And, you and I talk about this all the time. Your disruption starts in your 30s, like it did for me, like it did for you. That's why I was exhausted. That's why I lost hair. That's why, I couldn't sleep, and I was having mood swings, and I was having weight gain no matter what I did. And once I was able to address that, and for me personally, I addressed it, I needed to get on some thyroid hormones, which I did, bioidentical. And I got on some bioidentical progesterone at that time. And at different points, I supplemented bioidentical testosterone, because again, you and I know that in women, just like in men, we need that hormone. Testosterone is a fabulous hormone that is required for stamina and muscle mass and libido and memory and cognitive function. But in addition to that, really focusing on stress, lifestyle, sleep, diet, exercise, doing your yoga and giving care to yourself and having time for yourself, and, really just having all of those and taking the right supplements, using the right products, eliminating toxicity from your surroundings. I'm so happy to see that a lot of people are getting in tune to that. We're seeing a lot of much better products out there, right, that don't use the plastics and the carcinogens and the chemicals that you mentioned. Because when I do these tests on my patients, Anna, it blows me away because I test their heavy metals and I'm seeing lead and mercury and cadmium and gadolinium in these patients. And they've done everything and spent, tens of thousands of dollars to try to feel better, but they're not going to feel better because they are loaded with metals, or they're loaded with mold or mycotoxins, or they don't have a balance in their organic acids and their nutritional balance. So I think there's so much that we can do without spending a single penny, and that is just lifestyle, right? Avoid all the inflammation and toxicity. It's huge.
Surround yourself with people you love, right? We always will come back to that here at the Girlfriend Doctor Show.
Yes.
Surround yourself with people that make you smile, that make you happy, and be that for others, right? Be that for others. So, Shell, we are running out of time, but I definitely want to talk about a couple other hair hacks. Like we definitely want to dial in hormones, and they're so essential, and we can see how they change as we grow older. But the red light therapy, near infrared therapy for the head. So we've run across a few more of those hair hacks.
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things that I think are really important when you get past, doing all the things we talked about is I'm a big fan of low-level laser therapy for the hair, because what it does is it's entirely safe, been FDA approved, it's been tested and retested, and my patients do incredibly well, where you wear this hair helmet almost, right? So it's got low-level laser, which is stimulating your hair follicles. And what, somebody needs to kind of visualize again is if you have a follicle, usually you'll get about 3 strands of hair coming out, right? So when you're losing hair, all of them will thin, right? So they'll get thinner, and then 1 will go, 2 will go, 3 will go. So if you don't want to get behind the 8 ball. So when you're starting to thin, that's when you really want to get on the wagon here. And when you get the low level laser, you're actually stimulating that follicle so that your hair follicles get thicker, as well as you regenerate those 3 to 4 strands of hair. That's one. The other that I love is hair PRP. A lot of people ask me about this and they call our office all the time, because what it is it's natural. Because what is done is the doctor will draw your blood, and then they'll spin it down. So we'll separate out the platelet-rich plasma with the platelet-poor plasma. We take the platelet-rich plasma, which has at least 10 or more collagen-derived growth factors. So imagine these are your stem cell-like growth factors. And you take those and you inject them in the areas where you're thinning. So what we do is we'll kind of, numb the patient if they want it, and then just simply, and it's a very quick procedure, boom, boom, boom. I've had it done myself before my, cancer journey when I was losing hair. And why not, right? Why not get even better hair? And it's all natural. So I loved it. And you just place that in, and usually you'll do about 3 treatments, and then you do maintenance treatments. But it's such a great hack using your own collagen-derived growth factors. So I love those too. And I think it's really important for people to know about those. Stay away from the combs, the laser combs. I think those are not necessarily very effective in my opinion.
So the low laser helmet, and definitely agree with you on PRP. I've seen that just
Yes.
really shift and give amazing results. Haven't done it yet myself, but like, hey,
You
right?
don't need
Like you
it. Look
said,
at your hair. You're gorgeous.
willing and able. So, and I love you talked about many ingredients, and I want our listeners to go back and listen to the key, amino acids, the key vitamins, the key minerals that make a difference, and in this, and then just also the oils and the massage. And Dr. Shell has a great line of products. Plus, you have a program. Shell, will you share a little bit about your program?
Sure. So, there's so much to learn about hair loss, but I always say you get empowered and you have to become your own advocate, and knowledge is power. So in my program, we have about 6 hours of just training on what are the causes, what could be your cause, what could have triggered your hair loss. We even have a quiz where you take the quiz to try to figure out what could be leading to your specific hair loss, because it's really not one size fits all, right? We need to figure out what happened to you and why did this happen. Is it your thyroid? Is it your sex hormones? Is it your nutrition? Is it your lifestyle? Is it toxins? And so I walk you through that information and that knowledge, and really describing the different types of hair loss, what could be causing it, what tests should be done. Wherever you are, wherever you are in the country or the world, you can take this into your own hands and get these tests done so that you can address these root causes. And then we talk about the different hacks, like we talk about doing the right supplements, and the supplements that I've worked tirelessly over the last 10 years trying to formulate myself using the best ingredients, and the right products. And then, of course, doing the right procedures if it's indicated. So all of that is sort of wrapped up into this really easy to listen webinar style, which, you can listen to on your own time, and then really be your own advocate and have beautiful, luscious hair and enjoy it.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. And I want to thank you and thank all our viewers today and listeners for being here and being part of the Girlfriend Doctor podcast, and just, listening to our conversation and taking what your next step is. I love for each of you to share your next step, and definitely let Dr. Shell and I know how it's going for you. Shell, thank you so much for being here. And
Great to
you're
be
in
here.
Houston,
Talk to
not
your audience.
far, she's in the center of the country, y'all. Please, it is worth the trip out there to see her. And I'll be coming down to see you soon. I would love to hang out with you.
Absolutely.
You got to come up
Yeah,
to
I'm looking
Dallas.
forward to it. Looking
Absolutely.
forward to it. Good
Thank
to
you.
see you, Anna.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
being here. Oh, there's always something I learn when I talk to Dr. Shell. She's just really amazing. So I know this is a episode that you're going to want to listen to again, and then just take into heart, what are the things that make a difference? And we talked about so much: thyroid disease, hormone imbalance, stress and cortisol, gut health, food sensitivities. We talked about the micronutrients that can really help, and the hormone disruptors that get in the way, including plastics and heavy metals, and things that compete with our thyroid gland, like chlorine or bromine. They compete with iodine, which is essential for healthy thyroid function. So we look at these, and we talked about autoimmune disease and breast cancer, and she shared her story. And I've shared my pictures of my hair loss before, and it is something that's traumatizing, right? Absolutely traumatizing, and can really affect your life and how you feel about yourself. And it's especially when you're doing everything you can for everyone. It is truly a talent. Well, with this episode, as with all others, please like and review the podcast. Let me know what you want to hear more about. Email me at team@drannacabeca.com. Actually, just go to dranna.com/show, and there's a question box in there where you can comment. You can ask your question or let me know what you want to hear more about. And I love also hearing your next right steps. There's just like committing to that one next right step you're going to take from hearing our conversation today. What resonated most with you? And let me know. Put it in the comments if you're on my YouTube channel, put it in the comments here in the chat box, or visit me at dranna.com and let me know. Let me know what your next right step is, what your aha moment was. And I appreciate you. I love the reviews we've been getting and the testimonials we've been getting. That information here is changing lives and really creating empowerment, as well as recently received a letter in from one listener, and she said, Dr. Anna, you're creating a real sisterhood here, really creating a desire for me to reach out, be authentic and vulnerable, and talk to my friends and share my story. So I hope that's true for you. Each of us is somewhere along our journey. And no matter where you are, I want you to know that I'm here for you as your girlfriend doctor. Remember, there is no such thing as TMI. You can tell or ask me anything that you would tell your best girlfriend if she was a triple board certified OBGYN. I'm here to help you nourish your body, awaken your mind, body, spirit, right? Your potential, your passions, and shine in all ways, as well as embrace self-love, embrace those you love, because when it comes to it, community, those people we love in our lives are the most important people in our lives. So sending you lots of love today. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel here and get those notifications, and comment below. Let me know your thoughts, what you loved, and what your action step is.